Go for it.
Hey, Gary, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rich.
How you doing?
Oh, really good after Monday night's game.
Hey, it's funny how that just kind of makes the week a little brighter. It's sunny outside here in the Pacific Northwest. Um, the world's just a little brighter place when the Niners beat the Rams, right?
So before we get into recapping the game, I'm going to kind of recap some of the things that you said on the pregame video.
Oh, okay.
The betting line.
Here we go.
The betting line is always right.
I didn't say that. I didn't say the betting line was always right. I just said what the betting line was, and I agreed.
And you said, and they're right more than they are wrong. They're the ones that set the pace. You want me to play back for you?
No. They are the ones that set the pace, and they are right.
Okay, and you also said that 4.5 point favorite for the Rams was extremely low, and it was just something in honor of the 49ers, so to speak, is what you said.
Yeah. That's summarized.
And you want to say something about that?
You know what? I don't think that was unfair, given the talent that they have on that team. But
they didn't take into account the game just before.
Well, I know you watched that, and I did. So I didn't see the issues that Stafford were having, but as I went through and put my notes together for this game summary here, I noted that his last game was as bad as you said it was. So maybe Stafford is going.
Okay, next one in my list is Stafford does what he was brought in for.
That is what
he brought in to lose to the 49ers.
No, they brought him in to close out games because they couldn't do it before. And he did that very, very well until the last two games. I mean, he's only had two bad games, So I would say it's not a good idea. So you think
they'll pull out of it and win the rest of the games?
They've got a pretty easy schedule. I was looking at that this morning. We don't have too bad of a schedule. We got to play the Rams again. We got to play Seattle again.
I'm looking forward to playing the Rams again.
Yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be down there, but there's a huge amount of Niner fans.
And you were talking about it's the maturity that Stafford has. Well, he only shows that maturity when he's not being pressured.
Well, when he's getting pounded.
Well, he didn't get pounded. We never pounded him, but boy, we stayed in his face the whole game.
We sacked him twice.
Yes.
And we collapsed the pocket on just about every play. I mean, he was scrambling forward. He was stepping forward because the defenders were going by him, right? But he still didn't have any time. And the defensive backs played really well.
Well, let me get into the rest of the questions before you go into all of that.
Okay.
Because the other thing you said, there's no reason to believe that our secondary can cover with Stafford as a quarterback.
That's right. I absolutely.
He has such a high quarterback rating.
He did.
Not the game before he didn't.
Yeah.
Not this game he didn't.
No, this game I've got his stats, and they weren't real good. But neither was ours. I mean, in this game, we had great stats. I mean, one of the things. Wait a minute. First off, are you done beating?
No, I got a couple more.
Okay, go ahead. Throw them out there.
And Jimmy's going to be in trouble because of Donald and Von Miller.
Could have been possible.
You didn't take into account that we have the Donald killer, Brunskill. They were
Yeah.
actually rotating him away from Brunskill to try to get him in there, and they sent him on the other side to try to go through Tomlinson and Williams. That
Well,
didn't work either.
we got so Mike McGlinchey got hurt, right?
Yeah,
And Brunskill is viewed as the Niners' weakest link. He just is. So
well, not
it
against Donald. He's always been extremely good against Donald.
it was really fair, I think, to think that the defensive line of the Rams was gonna and the linebackers coming in, shooting the gaps and coming back. I think it was really fair to believe that that would happen. And then, you know, we stuck more into Brunskill's spot, and then he got hurt.
Yeah,
And so we went with Tom Compton, who gave up 1 sack, but that was it.
yep.
He played a really good game. And as you pointed out in the last game, Gary, over and over and over again, Compton was the weak link. And that was one of the big problems, right? So he seems to have squared that away at
He
least.
stepped up. I think he just had a lot of rust from sitting on the bench, because he really surprised me and impressed me.
Yeah, he had a fantastic game. 1 sack of Jimmy, no problem. Without him getting hurt. And yeah, the O-line did great. So you were right. I was wrong, and I'm glad. I think I said in the last time we got together, I hope I'm wrong.
You hope that happened, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
and so
that's why I don't like to look back too far to see how a team's doing.
Yeah.
Because you got to see where they're at now, not where they were.
Right, because there's injuries and there's people banged up and there's a little chip here and there, and there might be changes to what the coaching wants to do based on who's healthy and who's out there. So yeah, you're right. You really need to look at what happened recently. And
44 runs in this game. What do you think of that, huh?
I think that's great. We ran 44 times for 156 yards. And I like this. To start the game, Jimmy Garoppolo completed 12 passes in a row.
Yes.
So what a great way to start the game, with the run and the pass. And Shanahan did something. So as you recall, I've been complaining about the 3-step drop all year long, because Jimmy had been going 3 steps and then holding the ball and trying to find somebody when it's collapsing on him. Well, they had game planned that this was going to be fast snaps. So he went into those 3-step drops on almost every play, but he only averaged 2.3 seconds to have the ball in his hand. So he was getting it out there fast. And when they played in that offensive scheme, Jimmy was 12 for 14, 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he had a QBR of 141, which is almost perfect. I think 143 is as high as you can go, right? So, what a game by Jimmy, and what a great game plan by Shanahan. So, who I complain about bitterly. So, they really figured this one out, and that was pretty satisfying.
Well, I think the reason we won the game was the trenches. We won the trenches.
Yeah, we did.
Both O-line and D-line, they weren't fantastic, but they were very good, and they won just about every time.
Yeah, they did.
And that's why the defensive backs look so good. And that's why the offense looked so good. Both the runs and the passes, they were getting time to complete what they were going to complete. Like I say, team, TEAM. And that's, I think that was as good of a game that's probably ever been played.
Yeah. You know, Stafford has really been off, and he was really off in this game. You know, not only did he throw a couple of interceptions, including a pick six to Jimmy Ward, but he was just missing guys. He was throwing behind him. He was throwing over their heads. I mean, he's lucky we didn't get 4 interceptions, because there was a couple where guys were diving, just couldn't get there, you know.
Well, and you know, Hufunga defended one.
Yeah,
he defended that interception.
That's right, he did. But he didn't know, and he made the right play. And you can't complain.
He was playing the ball. You know, he didn't have time to go see who he was playing it against.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I thought he had a really good game.
He did. He looked really nice out there. I think they needed a boost, and I think that he was the boost. But Jimmy Ward, I mean,
forgot how good he really was.
What a game. What a game that guy had. I mean, you just saw his number out there, you know, that number one over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Did you see how high he can jump?
Oh, yeah. He can climb the stairs, man.
He can stuff a basket, man.
Yeah. Yeah. He just had an outstanding game. Yeah, it was really nice to see him have a game like that, to see the Niners play that well on defense. And I think, you know, maybe the biggest statistic is time of possession, because the Niners had the time of possession 39 minutes and the Rams held the ball for 21 minutes. And to me, that's defense, and that's good offensive execution without trying to go for the home run every time, right? And not having. And the other thing was, they got to second and short, or second, you know, when they had third down that they needed to convert, that they were for 2 yards or 3 yards, and before this game, they were only converting 33% of their third down passes. And you and I have talked about this on these shows. Last night, they were 8 for 14 on third downs, which is 57%. So that's a huge difference, and that made a giant difference because the Rams just didn't have their hands on the ball. So I'll give Shanahan credit for
a pretty good scheme.
The offense up to be successful. Yeah, they really did have a good scheme. It was fun.
And you know, it's like I said in the last video about Stafford, is that you can Riley, and you get him out of sync, and he has a hard time getting back in sync.
Yeah.
And it showed.
Yeah. And he came, I mean, in the trade, he came from a defensive dominant conference, right? And so he's had the luxury of having a team like the Rams playing in front of him. But man, 2 weeks in a row, it's coming apart. So the rest of the season is going to be really interesting. And we're not out of the wild card race. We're not. We're still a half a game out. So, and they said that during the broadcast, right? So it's got to take them one game at a time, I guess, you know. And hey, what do you think about Debo?
Oh, I thought Debo did great.
Oh man,
well, he was Debo.
Yeah, he really was.
What was your favorite play of the game?
Well, I like that 4th and 5 in the opening minutes of the fourth quarter. Garoppolo hit Samuels for a 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And that put the game out of reach. That's on a 4th down play, which was brilliant play call. Caught the Rams off guard bad. And that made it 31-7, and that was basically the end of the game.
My favorite
that was my favorite play of the game.
Well, my favorite play of the game wasn't one that was not called the way it should have been anyway, but was the butt catch.
Oh, yeah.
Never seen a butt catch before.
Neither have I. I've seen a helmet catch.
Catching it off the other guy's face mask and all kinds of stuff like that, but never a butt catch. And that was so perfect.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a penalty.
Yeah.
And that was offensive pass interference, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a light call.
It was a questionable call at best. And by the way, I don't usually complain about the refs. As a matter of fact, anybody that's heard me knows
that's my job.
Yeah. But this game was
I like that roughing the passer for laying on the grass underneath him.
Oh man. There was just so many blown calls, so many bad calls. Bosa got held the whole game. Everybody in that room was pointing out that Bosa was getting held. They were showing it, and they never called it. They never called it. It's almost like Bosa's built such a reputation that the refs look at him as being different than anybody else on the 49ers line.
Yeah, just the opposite of basketball players. They don't get called because they have the reputation.
That's right.
Like the guys against Bosa don't get called because of his reputation.
It's true. I think that's really true. And I think I'm sure the 49ers complain about it bitterly to the front office, but because they always go over the film and send in film clips and complain and nothing happens, right? And I don't think anything's going to happen here either. I mean, Bosa's scary.
Do you have some players of the game?
Players of the game, yeah. I mean, obviously, Debo was a player of the game. Garoppolo had a great night. And then, but I think that the biggest, I think my favorite player of the game, oh my God, blow the whistle. The
foghorn?
The defensive, blow the foghorn. I'm losing it here. The defensive back that we were talking about, Jimmy Ward. There we go. Jimmy Ward. I thought Jimmy Ward was a player of the game. How about you?
Well, I gave Jimmy Ward the defensive player of the game.
Who'd you give the offensive player of the game to?
Well, let me finish. And then I also gave the whole D-line and all of the guys that came in and went out an honorable mention because I thought they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Then for special teams, Cannon was doing his thing again. I mean, the guy has really started to impress me.
He has. He's doing a great job out there,
both as a returner and as a defender.
Yeah, and he's got some speed, and he's big. So it's nice.
And I gave the O-line honorable mention.
Okay,
but my player of the game was Brunskill.
Really?
He's the one that allowed everybody else to do what they did. And he's in a position that never gets hardly any accolades.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Donald killer, he got him.
He did get him. He did.
And that's what allowed Jimmy to do what he did. And if Jimmy couldn't do what he did, well, then Debo wouldn't have been able to have the game he had.
Exactly.
So that's why I gave it to Brunskill, because I may not get another chance to give a lineman player of the game.
Yeah. You know, that's a real reasonable choice. You know, I said Jimmy Ward on defense. On offense, Mitchell had a really nice game. I mean, he ran for what, a buck 30. He looked really strong out there. I'm concerned though. He broke a finger in that game and just stuck a pin in it. So
Well, there's talk that he's going to be okay.
I hope so. Usually, if they stick a pin in somebody's finger, it's not a good sign, you know. I mean, the guy's hands are working all the time, so I don't know. We'll wait and see. We'll just count down the days. Yep. Shanahan holds his cards close to the vest, so we probably won't hear anything until game.
I thought DJ Jones had a really good.
He did have a really good game.
If Ward hadn't have been doing what Ward was doing, DJ Jones would have been my defensive player.
He played really well.
You can't keep that away from Ward. I mean, he had a game of games.
Yeah. I was the best defensive back play that I've seen certainly all year long. He just really knocked it out of the park. It was pretty nice to see. I have one more defensive player, and I say it all the time. Al Jazeer.
Would you pronounce that again?
L-A-R Jazeer.
Alshire?
I love the guy. I can't even say his name, you know. But I talk about him every week, right? And of course Fred Warner dominates.
Well, you know,
not in this game.
Well, Fred was playing outside.
Yeah, he was. He was
and that's not his position, but he was still making a lot of tackles.
He was making a lot of tackles, and he was having to cover tight ends in the short routes. So he did a really nice job. But my favorite linebacker. I mean, he had 4 solo tackles. He had 2 helps, and he just messed up that defensive line and their whole blocking scheme the whole game. He was all over the place. I was really, really happy with our linebacker play altogether. Just rock solid. It was a rock solid game. Everybody did their job, you know.
Makes you look forward to the next game, doesn't it?
The next game should be a killer. But you know, I do want to give Shanahan credit because I'm really critical of the coaching staff. And this quick hit, 2.5 second 3-step drop and release thing that they had going, and having the receivers making the right cuts in place. The receivers, every single one of them ran great routes last night, or it wouldn't have allowed Jimmy to do that. But with all of that clicking, Jimmy's offense is going to be really hard to beat for the rest of the year. I think they should stick to this game plan, you know, and if have something to fall back on. But I mean, if any quarterback that's getting rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds is going to be successful. So, you know, I guess if I wrap this game up, the coaching staff did a great job getting the team ready.
I'm in agreement.
And if we keep playing like that, we're going to be scary. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. I think we've got a team, including the coaching staff. They're all part of the team now. I mean, it's clicking on all cylinders, and they actually have let some guys go.
Who'd they let go?
I can't remember now. Foghorn time.
Yeah. Probably a bunch of nobodies anyway.
No, they were some of the, they let some cornerbacks go that have actually been playing
Well,
because
have they
they
been
think
playing
that
or have they just been?
Demo and the other guy we got would be good backups.
Hey, one more thing about the defensive backs and that were different in this game. You know, I think we both were concerned about the soft pass defense.
Yeah.
These guys were dropping back 15 yards and giving the 10 yards underneath. They were playing man. They were moving up and they were playing a kind of a half zone, but they had the defensive backs up on those receivers. And they had to be because their receivers are so great. We held Cooper Kupp to 4 receptions for 44 yards. I mean, this guy is burning down the league right now, and we just shut him down. So, all in all, man, that was a great game, one I didn't expect to see. That's all I got.
Yeah,
What do you
same
got?
here. You know that without a past, you don't have a future.
That's right. That's right. Thanks for taking us out. Thanks, Gary.
Okay.